Hey,
Hello. It's Community Conversations
yes,
with
another
Gary and
another
Stacy.
opportunity of community conversations with Gary and Stacy. Remember to like our page, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on follow our podcast. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to interact with you. Hey, we did have some responses from the
Yeah.
last video that we did when we were talking about phones, and the person really had some good points that sometimes,
Damika
yeah,
Morrison, yes.
sometimes you have the reason why the phones are not accessible to each other is sometimes you have conversations that really
Private
private
conversation.
conversations that
Maybe
have
better.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
the marriage, but they are private conversations that maybe you're having with your friends,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't be really be a part of it, or people that are going through stuff.
Yeah. Especially if you're
So
like in ministry or so.
yeah, so
Yeah. That
that
was a
was
good
a
insight.
good
Yeah.
insight and contribution, Damika Morrison. We appreciate that. Listen, today we are getting into another one because we're going to be bringing up all these ones that are very interesting. So, everybody goes, they stand in front of the pastor, the priest, or whoever is doing their wedding on their wedding day, and they say, for better or worse.
Do people still say that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's generally
Yeah.
you going into your marriage knowing that it's better or worse.
So
Basically.
that you'll be there for better or
Okay.
worse. It's not that it's gonna be, you're not hoping for better. You're not hoping for better or worse, but
Yeah, you'll
you'll
be there.
be there
Okay. With
whether
this
it's bad,
person.
whether it's worse.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so what do you think about that? Is it 17 years of marriage? Have we had better? Have we had worse?
Yeah, we've had better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say we've had worse. We've had bad.
Yeah.
We've had hard. We've
Yeah.
had difficult.
Yeah.
Even with each other,
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
But I guess it would be more specific as to what you consider worse.
Yes. So it'll be
You would need to
subjective.
know, yeah, subjective, like
Yeah.
what would
But
be worse.
but did you really think about that line when we got married? Did you really think?
No. I remember growing up, my cousin used to say she's not gonna say that line because she wanted it for better or best. That's what she used to say. I remember that as a kid.
Right. But are people really facing reality when they stuff like that? They say stuff like that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because you're living life every day. You've come together as a family, and you will have difficult moments. You will have hard moments. You will have moments where you think, you know what, this is very difficult.
Yeah.
So what do you advise people who are going through worse to do?
I think it's understanding that hard times are seasonal.
Yeah.
And as long as you are committed to this person and you guys are working to a common goal,
yeah,
then you stick with it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're gonna run a business,
Right.
there's slumps, there are hard times, there are valleys, but you don't give up. You don't leave.
Right.
So I think it's the same concept as that in a
Right.
marriage, is that you understand that this is a season, and at some point you're gonna get to a place where you can both enjoy,
Right.
Or at least be in good times.
Right. So we can do a follow-up on this topic if you want us to. Just think about it. If you could comment on the video, tell us what your worst would look like.
True.
We want to hear what your worst would look like. Am I pronouncing that right? Worse.
Yeah, worse.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So these are times where, like, so I would say celebrate the better times, knowing that there'll be challenging times to come. But I think what has helped us is, and I tell this when I'm doing counseling, I always tell people this, is it doesn't matter what Stacy's doing or how crazy she's acting or or whatever she's doing. In the back of my mind, I always remind myself that even though she's acting the way she is, she still loves me.
That's good.
So I'm confident of that. I'm confident of the fact that she loves me. So because I'm confident of that, I here I am. Because I know, so there's grace.
Yeah.
And also, I think a lot of people do not give each other the benefit of the doubt through situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I know of, there's lots of people who sometimes just, okay, so let's talk about the last cell phone thing. Sometimes a person is not really hiding anything, but because you're not giving them the benefit of the doubt, you've got accusations. Those accusations in your mind, or those thoughts, those negative thoughts, they build up something in your mind, and then you start mistrusting that person, and then you continue living with that. So you're not giving the other person the benefit of the doubt. You're not allowing the other person the room to be able to be themselves, so that when they have the opportunity to communicate with you, then they can communicate with you. And I think that's what we've done with each other, is giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
And then you did talking about communication. I think that is a very important point if you're dealing with better or worse.
Yeah.
Having that openness in your marriage that you can talk about things.
Right.
Because if we're in a situation where at one time you might think everything is all dandy and everything, and I might be in a separate place where I'm feeling like I'm feeling overlooked, or I'm feeling like I'm struggling with certain issues, where you're in your better and I'm feeling like I'm in my worst.
Right.
So if we can talk about it, because sometimes the other person is not quite sure, okay, expectations and your feelings in the moment. So if you're able to have an open marriage in the sense of communication,
right? Be careful with that phrase, open marriage.
No, I mean in the sense of sharing your feelings.
Yeah.
To sit down with your spouse and have
conversations. Yes.
To say, this is really hurting me, or we're at a time where we're both working a lot, we're both tired, we're both coming home frustrated.
Yeah.
So that's causing friction.
Right.
Or we have kids who are depending on us, who are acting up, who we're dealing with. So then there's all these added forces that's causing friction, causing these issues, and causing a worse.
So think about like when we first, and we will have a separate episode on this of like migrating. Okay, so when we first moved, let's say when we first moved to America, because remember, we've moved to America twice. So we've lived in America in 2009, and then we came back in 2017. So seasons change.
Yeah, that was a hard season.
So it becomes a hard season because you're switching. Sometimes the problem is the worst is brought about by the fact that expectations for some people still remain the same, even though circumstances have changed. And I think being able to pivot and change course and make adjustments and be adaptable is very important.
That's true.
And I think between me and you, I'm adaptable.
It takes me longer. I'm gonna be honest. I like things the way I like things, and when there's change, it really takes me some time to adjust. And I have, like, talking about communication, I have that internal communication that I do.
Right.
Where there's an issue, and I will talk it out with myself.
Right.
So that didn't help.
Right. And then because she's talked to herself, she started pretending that she talked to me.
No, sometimes I really think maybe I do have a conversation that's out loud, so then I think like, oh, he knows.
I'm like, you ain't saying nothing to me. What are you talking about? We didn't even hear. What does our daughter say? Here you are standing on business.
Yeah, I was standing on business by yourself,
and we didn't even say nothing to each other. So I think that's a very important thing to be able to look at and ask ourselves. Okay, so how much communication do we need to have?
Yeah.
And then also sometimes, like you said, your worst is not my worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we grew up different. We're from two different cultures. Sometimes the thing that
Yeah.
frustrates you doesn't frustrate
Yeah.
me. Sometimes the things that frustrate me doesn't
Yeah.
frustrate you, because we grew up in two different cultures. We have two different personalities. So, for better or worse means stick it out, grow up.
Yeah. Growth is important.
Yeah, walk through this.
Because you're not necessarily, I believe that when you're in a marriage, the Bible talks about iron sharpening
Yeah.
iron. I think when you come together in a marriage,
Yeah.
that it should expose the weak areas in your life.
Right.
And you should have the maturity enough
Right.
to, instead of fight against that, to accept it and see, okay, what do I need to do
Right.
to change?
Right.
And as a result of that, both parties grow and mature. So there's a bettering.
Yep.
There's a bettering of where you started.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be the same person you were or worse.
Right. It'll be weird if we're the same people we were 17 years ago.
I know, if you talk with my siblings, like, before I met you, I was a little less into me. I'm just gonna put it like that.
You were into yourself.
A little less into myself.
Right.
And because of the work you have done, even with speaking over me and encouraging me, I feel like I've come, and I think they would agree, to some level of change.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's very important. Internal or individual.
For me,
individual growth.
For me, you were just the perfect bride for me.
Of course.
So I mean, I think some of the stuff. So you get married. So you guys need to be. We need to be very honest with each other. You get married. You have this picture of how your marriage is gonna look like. You have this picture about how everything would be. But then you get married, and then reality hits, and the question would be: do you stay on, fight on, build on, grow, or do you give up and retreat?
Yeah.
Because even within the marriage, you might decide to stay on, but you might not be willing to fight on and make the adjustments that you need to make. And that is an issue that a lot of people do not realize could happen. It's very important.
So when we're talking about, we need to just be clear. When we're talking about staying on and fighting, we're not talking about marriages where you're in danger.
You're in danger.
Your kids
abused.
are in danger. We're not talking about those kinds of situations.
No.
We're talking about stuff where both parties are willing to work and at least are able to see where they need to improve. So firstly, I would want to say, maybe this is something we could talk about at some point. It's very, very important when you're choosing a spouse. Because you have to know that you're getting into something that you don't intend to leave in a few years.
Right.
So you want to look at the character of the person, you want to look at their behavior, you want to look at their history, so that you know, okay, we've got issues, but we're both in a position that we can work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very important for everybody to realize that. So this is why premarital counseling is important.
Yeah, and postmarital and in the time marital,
all of that,
and all the counseling.
So Scripture talks about a multitude of counselors. So it's important
and trusted people
that you need to find yourself trusted people. So one of the things one of our pastors back in Botswana taught us was that when we hit a wall where
not actually hitting the wall,
where we don't agree, we completely do not agree, we need to be able to find a referee.
Yeah. So when you're both, okay, I'm right, you're right, and we're both at this, and we're unable to see each other's side, we're unable to see past our own belief.
Yeah.
Then you need a neutral party.
Right.
To get involved and say, I hear you, I hear you.
Yeah.
And maybe hearing it from someone else, you're more likely to understand the other person's point of view.
Yes.
So you have that neutral person who can say, okay, let's look at it this way.
Right. So this is Community Conversation. I know that we've talked a little bit about a lot of stuff. We will be able to unpack this as this particular season continues, because this is the season. I think we should do a season of just, first season should just be about marriage.
Yeah.
Second season maybe about parenting. Third season about whatever else the Lord brings up.
Yes.
And we continue doing that. So if you have any questions, please make sure that you email us. You can email me at gary@missionsinteract.com or stacy@missionsinteract.com. And we'll be able to have these conversations.
What are you guys talking about?
What do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to bring out? What do you guys want us to touch on? Let us know. We value your support. We value everything. Please share this podcast or the YouTube channel. Share it with other people.
Oh, happy birthday, Zubaida.
Happy birthday, Zubaida. Yes. Happy birthday, Zubaida. Well, this was fun.
That's it.
But God bless you. Enjoy yourself. Remember to stay on for better or worse.
What better? Better.
For better or best.
Better or best.
All right.
Bye.